So a little over a year ago, I decided that I want to learn to draw, and that's pretty much what I did. For the past 365 days or a bit more, I have been drawing consistently every day, and more recently I've decided to take up on a side quest, and the side quest of basically learning to draw better portraits. So at around day 150, I was at a level of portraits which I thought used to be quite good. Now, you know, when I see it after some time, I start seeing all of these mistakes and everything that was not working out. But essentially I got to a decent level of a portrait, and this was the best work I've done at that time. So this was a one-to-one portrait that I drawn digitally, and I was pretty much trying to copy a reference that I had at the time to a complete identical proportions, identical all kind of colors. I also desaturated, so it's a bit easier to get the skin tones and things like that. Now there's a number of reasons why this portrait is not perfect, and far from perfect, but at that time I thought it was really good. However, to continue learning, to continue bettering myself, I reached a point where I started to need to get some feedback, which essentially is the whole idea behind this video today. I wanted to share my experience of going to a school in Florence, and basically to learn better proportions, and in particular focusing on portraits. So in Florence I went to Apollon Art Studio and I did a course in drawing, and this was a semi-intensive course. So this school in particular has a number of courses that you can choose from, focused either on drawing or painting. They also had some sculpture classes, but the one that I did was a semi-intensive course, which means it took 4 hours a day and it was 1 week long. You can also choose some of these courses to do for a longer period of time, but the whole idea was that you come in there early in the morning, around 9 o'clock, you start and you draw 4 hours continuously. Now, the interesting bit about this course is that normally I don't draw on big papers. One thing is, of course, the constraints that I have in my own home, because I live in a small apartment, but every bit is also you need to have an easel or a place where you can put an A2 painting. Now, when you're drawing on a bigger piece of paper, there's a number of things that happen. Like one of them is that you start noticing every small detail because it's just so big in front of you and you're so close to the paper compared to the size that you start noticing every detail. The other bit is, of course, that you need to scale your drawing. So this was on A2 gray tone paper, and I drew this one with charcoal and white charcoal. This is, I think, so far the best portrait I've ever done, and you can let me know in the comments if you recognize the painting. And it was a really good and fun experience overall. Like, it took forever. I think this one took me 3.5 days probably. A lot of patience, a lot of back and forth, trying to fix the small mistakes, trying to add those details where I show better, where's wrinkles, where there's a change in skin tones and everything. So, but the main thing was to understand how proportions work. So, because my reference was on A3 and I was drawing on A2 paper, I had to scale everything slightly bigger, and this was essentially the whole point of this exercise, to learn and scale paintings. Now, the other drawing that I did with graphite, I believe, was less successful. I can't say that I'm ashamed of this painting, but I know I can do better, and now looking back, like, graphite and the way it came out can definitely be, well, can then definitely be improved. But the whole point was to learn sketching. Sorry, the whole point was to learn cross-hatching and a bit of skin tones, and of course, again, it was a scaling exercise, but the face looks a bit off, the expression is off, and there's a number of other issues that I think I would do slightly differently if I was to start over. Which brings us to the final painting. So in those 5 days, I did a total of 3 paintings. The first one took the longest, but the other ones I spent about a day each. And this was my favorite one in terms of new practice. This was a one-to-one reference that I was drawing, and this was completely done with a ballpoint pen. So when I say ballpoint pen, I'm talking about the cheapest and the most simple ballpoint pen that is in blue that you have lying around in your house. And I think this is essentially part of the beauty of this whole exercise, because it's such a unimportant instrument almost. Like anybody can have a ballpoint pen lying around, and then you can try and create something that it looks a bit more interesting, looks let's say shadows and skin tones and just using one color. And you know, I like monochrome paintings a lot. So I think for today I'll try to do the same, and I will take let's see, I'll pick a reference and I'll try to do a one-to-one drawing with using just a ballpoint pen. So, got our reference ready. I'm just gonna tape up my wonderful piece of paper. The paper that I bought is way too thin. Again, another rookie mistake, but I got it a long time ago and it was on discount. I think this is 90 grams. I guess I could check. So now looking at the portrait, some of the things that I learned at the academy, and in no way this is a tutorial of any sorts. This is rather just a kind of like a summary of what I've learned and I wanted to share. But if I'm doing one-to-one, one of the things that they are suggested to do is essentially to pick two sides where you're looking at the portrait. So let's say looking from the bottom and from the left side, instead of, you know, measuring from the right and measuring from the top and measuring from the bottom, just pick two sides like this. And if I'm measuring from the bottom, let's say that I will want my bottom of my painting to be here, and this is about the top. I measure first what is the approximate distance that I have from the bottom, which is about this. And I'm just marking it down on my piece of paper. And then I do the same thing like on the side. So if I look from the bottom, moving on, so I'm not really going to try to have it extremely accurate. That is not the goal of this portrait drawing. I will, of course, try to do my best as much as I can. So the other thing that I want to measure now, so I have this distance, it's approximately here. And then I want to measure about the distance to the ear. Just about here. And of course you want to know approximately what's the size of the skull. Now this will serve as essentially as an underpainting, or I guess I should be saying under drawing. But the whole idea is that before I get to the ballpoint pen, I want to make sure I nail the proportions, nail the basic features, nail the planes of the head and things like that. Essentially trying to get the biggest shapes out there, and I'm not getting 100% accuracy because I don't think I can achieve that, but somewhere there. You want to get those three planes of the head. So I'm just going to take that approximately. Of course, there's a bit of foreshortening and the face is a little twisted, but like I'm not overcomplicating anything right now. I just need to get out of my head and just try to get the planes sort of correct. So I'm sort of just going back and forth, trying to get the measures right. Obviously, I'm still a beginner, so I need to acknowledge that. So when you have somebody with more experience, this process is probably much more fluent, but I'm basically, because I don't want to use the ballpoint pen before I got the main features right, before I got the proportions right, it is quite crucial that at the very beginning I sort of just try to get the features approximately right. So I know that somewhere here is going to be the mouth, and this is just, just basic knowledge that the face and this bottom part also divides in three, and then in the middle there's the lips. Again, the face is a little foreshortened, so I need to take that into account and kind of get there. I found this portrait on Unsplashed. I usually get all of my portrait references either from Unsplashed or from Pixel. They have a ton of great material and it is copyright free. So there's a lot of photographers who want to basically showcase their pictures, and you are allowed to use it. Obviously, you're not allowed to resell those pictures, or let's say if you were to draw a painting, if you were to paint a painting and you have exactly the resemblance, there would be a problem. So I mean, for practice, this is a great place. For commercial stuff, not really, something to keep in mind. And this goddamn eyebrow now looks angry. So I'll need to fix that. All right, I think it's sort of coming into something. If I was to be exactly accurate, I think there is a million things that are off. But I'm just looking for the main proportions, and basically I want to set a base so that I can pick up my pen and start coloring it in. And this was it. So some finishing touches. It took about, I don't know, 5 to 8 hours. I spread it out over a few days, so I didn't continuously draw on the same painting. Mostly just ballpoint pen takes forever because you do a lot of small strokes. But yeah, could be better, but I am satisfied with the result. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye bye.